Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast, Ramble Road. Today, I am joined by Jacob.
Hi.
And Finley.
Hello.
Who is currently quite angry at something, but we'll get to that later. Also joining us today is Craig, our Mongolian friend. Say hi, Craig. Yeah, he's a quiet boy.
He's a bit silent today.
Yeah. So it's strange that whenever we start recording a podcast, he's just really quiet.
He's normally quite talkative, he is, but as soon as we start, he just doesn't talk anymore.
I think he might have a cold at the minute.
Anyway, so shall we get into this podcast then? So,
I hope so.
To start off with, let's talk about something that pretty much has been a big part of what's been going on recently in the UK. Exams.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, sort of lack of the exams.
Yeah, lack of exams. Yeah. So, like, what do you like and dislike about having to do exams? And, like, what's your opinion on how they were cancelled? Would you have rather have actually done them? Do you think you could have done better than your predicted results or whatever? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first, right. Well, the thing is, though, is like, obviously, because we didn't take them, we don't know what we're going to get. I don't think there's anything you can enjoy about exams. I know there's probably some people out there that do enjoy them. But I think the vast majority of people don't enjoy exams. But I think it's the fact that people, if you've taken the exam, you can sort of be proud of your results, like, or disappointed in yourself. You can be like, all right, I could have done better, or I was glad that I was able to work hard and get this. But like, because we didn't do them, it just sort of feels a bit sort of empty in my opinion. Yeah. It's kind of really hard because it's like you have people saying, oh, congratulations on your results. But it's like, I didn't take the exams. I know obviously it's like been 2 years of work for A levels.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously we've had to do work over these 2 years, but we're not actually having to do something final in the end. It's sort of a bit hollow, really.
Yeah. Finley, you want to add anything?
We passed by default, pretty much, unless you're like the unlucky person that's like predicted an A, but your teacher, well, you predicted an A, but you're low in the class predicted an A. So that means you get a U, because yes, no. And exams, I like that they finish eventually. I'm not a big fan of exams. They stress me out and make me want to go to bed when I get home. Never happens.
Fair enough. Well,
yeah, because apparently there's this whole thing between like public schools and private schools, like how much they change, like
we'll get into that.
Submitted grades.
Yeah, we'll get into that when we get onto the absolute clusterfuck that was the results day.
Because I have quite a funny tweet that I saw that said, mad to think that if ABBA had gone to a public school, they would have been called CDDC.
Yeah,
I quite enjoyed that one.
Yeah, but in terms of exams, I don't enjoy sitting there and doing an exam. Especially if it's a written exam. Hate written exams.
They're very long as well.
They're very long.
Boring. They're long and boring.
But once you...
But like one hour one once.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was art. So
that was art. That's But like with exams, once you're done, you can like breathe and you can relax, and that moment of just that's quite nice. And then also like with the whole opinion on cancellation, I think that some people tend to do better in classroom environments than they do in exam environments.
Yeah.
So what their total amount of work actually says about them is more taken into context, but it's a weird one because you could, like, people like me, I tend to not put as much work in during the mock exams as they're coming up to it, And then I tend to, in the last few months before the exams, I tend to put in more and more work until
Yeah, of
I
course
get
you
the
do, because
grades
there's a
that,
big difference
yeah,
between a mock and a regular
yeah.
one.
But
But
now
also,
all the mock ones became the regular ones for a
I have a
bit.
question, because obviously, when we went into lockdown, that's when they cancelled the exams. Do you
Yeah.
think that it would have been fair for us to take the exams with obviously being in online classes?
I don't know, because they,
I think everyone would just be like, well, we're online, we're at home. This isn't lessons. We can just fuck about.
yeah, that's
Mm.
what tended to happen quite a lot.
I don't
I'm
think
pretty
there was
sure.
a lot of schools that did what we did. I think a lot of people didn't do online classes.
Yeah,
Like
there
some of them were
were.
just given work.
Yeah,
But I mean, I suppose that's just everything was very sort of last minute. It was
yeah.
like,
Well, to be fair, no one was planning about the virus until well, basically a week before we went into lockdown, and then all the schools were hurriedly trying to get all the stuff set up because
which was bad because we kind of already
yeah,
knew about it when like
yeah,
Italy and France were
but
doing theirs like a couple months
yeah.
before us.
But I mean, when it was in China, everyone thought, "Oh, it's never going to reach us." Then when it sort of like started going across towards European areas, we were all sort of like sitting there going, "It's getting a bit closer, but it still probably won't affect us. We're an island nation. We should be okay. We're not really that." Everywhere in those countries is in quarantine and in lockdown and all that sort of stuff. Shouldn't reach us. And then when it reached us, everyone started like essentially running around screaming.
Because
Pretty
wasn't it when
much.
like the north of
Stages of the
Italy?
pandemic.
Yeah.
It wasn't when like the north of Italy went to lockdown. It was just going to be like a 2 week thing,
Initially,
and
yeah,
then
I
it's
think
just kept on going on.
it went on and on and on until they finally got their numbers low enough. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
initially just supposed to be a short-term thing, but then it became our extended summer holiday without all the
Yeah.
usual summer holiday stuff.
Yeah, it's like you think like, oh, I'm gonna get this really nice long time off, but it's like you can't go out and do anything, so it's a bit pointless. You just sat inside all day.
How long has
Yeah.
it been now, though?
It's been over 6 months,
It
pretty
was the
much.
20th of March.
Has it been 6 months? It's not. It's been five and a bit months,
Mm.
or 4 and a bit months. I can't.
Like 4 and a bit months of literally nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except for my Welsh holiday. My Welsh holiday was nice.
Yeah. Should we talk about actual results day? Like, what was everyone doing?
Oh, actual results day. So Finley and I, we kind of came to the school at this time to pick up our results. We were there really early,
What
and
time? What were you there before 8?
8 o'clock. We got there before
I
8,
was
like
there at
5 minutes
So you got your
before.
results before you found out that you got into uni?
No, we. Oh no, I didn't find out that I got to uni until like 9 or 10 o'clock when the site finally not
Yeah,
like
the website.
8 half 8. Yeah, so I had a minor panic attack about that because my course required quite high grades to get an A-star AA, and I pulled out my results and it said BBBC. At which point I just decided, fuck it, I'm going home and I'm going to start looking at clearing and desperately trying to get onto UCAS all this time. Desperately like trying to log in, site still crashed, trying to log in, site still crashed. So we get home, we're looking like at all the options and all that sort of stuff, and just desperately trying to get into UCAS, trying to get into my emails to see if I'd had anything. About 9:30ish. No, not 9:30ish, 8:30ish. Like 8:37, 8:40ish. We finally get on there, and I see a message. Congratulations, you've been accepted into your first choice. And it was just literally a moment of, what?
So
What?
did yours get changed to an unconditional or they
Yeah, it got changed.
Yeah.
It got changed from unconditional overnight, and I didn't know this. So for like half an hour, I'd just been straight panicking about what university I'd be going to. But yeah, I'm in the unique position where my
for like 5 months because they changed it when lockdown started.
yeah.
So I turned up and like, well, they're probably gonna have somehow magically fucked the grades, but it doesn't matter because I'm in anyway. But
Yeah.
not everyone had that. And with UCAS site being down,
Yeah.
you get your results and you're like, wow, that's just completely wrong. I hope the unis aren't going to be complete arses. And luckily, most of them
Yeah.
weren't. Most of them actually realized, oh wow, the government's done a great job here. I guess we have to fix it.
Well, I
So
suppose
they're trying to get as many people in as they
if they went
can.
with their original offers, they wouldn't have enough students coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they went with their original offers, they'd probably have one student.
Because I was quite lucky
Unless
with
they were
mine.
like private school students, then they'd have all of them in.
Yeah.
Because I found out that I was in uni before I got my results. Because I'd got up with the intention of getting to school pretty early, but I was like on the UCAS website when I was getting like my breakfast and when I was getting ready. Well, first of all, it was down. I couldn't even get on to UCAS itself. Then I finally managed to get to the bit where I can log in, and it was loading the next page, and then that page crashed.
Yeah, that
But
page
I
did
think it was
crash as
about
well.
20 to 9. I finally got on there and I saw that both of my offers had been moved to unconditional. So then I was like, oh, I'll just take my time then because there's no rush to get down to school. Finally get down to school and I'm like, oh, okay. Results were lower than what I needed to get in.
Yeah.
But obviously, maybe we could talk about the appeal process and how that's just sort of been changed.
It's been
It got cancelled.
It's been a constant series of handbrake turn after handbrake turn, leaving basically the entire system skidding round corners left, right, and centre, constantly changing direction. Because at first it was going to be a robust exams appeal system, and then they were going to triple lock the grades in, and all this sort of stuff. And then all of us have at least either had. We were either going to appeal a result, or the school had decided that they were going to appeal the results for us for certain subjects.
Yeah, they were appealing whole subjects.
Yeah, and so we basically didn't really have to do much because they were appealing most of the subjects. So we kind of just and then we saw, they've released some new guidelines on how they're going to do this, and then 8 hours later, those guidelines were completely null and void.
Yeah, was it the governing body? What are they called?
Off something.
Ofqual.
Ofqual. Yeah. Did they reject what the government had put out or something?
They redacted their statement on what they were going to do as part of the appeals process, and they were going to base it on certain things, and then suddenly Wales, it was either yesterday or this morning, Wales announced that they were going to be doing their grades based on the centre assessed grades, the SACs, which was what, or SAGs, whatever they were, which was what got sent out before it got put through the algorithm that punted everyone's down or up. And so, if your grade was higher, if your centre assessed grade was higher than your algorithm grade, you're going to get that new grade. If you're in Wales. And then a few hours ago, England did exactly the same thing. So now we're all getting whatever grades we got predicted. Basically, I think. Pretty much.
Hopefully.
Government were maybe pay to win grades isn't a good idea.
Yeah, a bit of bad press there.
A bit.
Yeah, because there was all these news articles coming out about how they'd basically just given all these really high grades to all these private schools, and
it was a class war.
Yeah, so that was fun. Yeah,
there was a lot of hate going towards the exam secretary.
Yeah,
the education guy. Yeah.
Although to be fair, who actually designed the algorithm? Because I'm pretty sure he gave the government gave some ideas as to what needed to be put into the algorithm, but then the actual algorithm itself would have been designed by Ofqual, wouldn't it? Or would it have been designed by the government, or what?
No idea.
No one's clear on how it was designed or who it was. So all the Labour people are, of course, saying it's the government's fault. The government had every hand in it. All the Tory people are saying it was completely Ofqual and all of those people. So
The government's doing what they do best. They're giving government answers, which is they're not answering anything.
the typical politician answer of completely sidestepping any question. Yeah, that's a fun
Would you
one.
like strawberry ice cream? Well, let's see. On a theoretical level, what is ice cream?
Oh,
That's
Jesus
like a
Christ.
government answer. Just complete and utter BS that goes nowhere.
No. If you were to ask them like what ice cream, they'll start talking about how amazing the NHS is.
Oh God, yeah.
So Boris, what flavour ice cream would you like? Well, we have an amazing NHS.
Although to be fair, if you ask Diana about the same question, she'd probably misquote you the figures.
Yeah.
No side's perfect. Every side has their issues. So whatever your political leanings are,
don't come out of it.
don't come at us.
Don't
Everyone's
come at
got their
us.
issues.
Because we're knocking all of you. You're all wrong.
The only party that's right is the official monster raving loony party. Am I right, fellas?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sad. No one likes them. I like them. They're an interesting party. Let's just put it that way. Interesting.
You'd be an head in government.
Yeah. That would just be funny, though, to just see a camera shot of the House of Commons, and you just see in the background on one of the back benches, you just see a man dressed in like half Darth Vader costume, and then with just a massive bucket on his head. Would make political debates a lot more interesting.
To be fair, he'd probably do a better job than like any prime minister the country's had.
Yeah, true. So yeah, that's been the results day. Catastrophe that has been.
There's many ways to describe what it's been like.
Yeah, it's like a car crash combined with a plane crash combined with a helicopter crash combined with a ship ramming into all of them and dousing them all in gasoline that's on fire. It's just
hopefully the GCSE results will be better because they've learned from us.
Yeah, they've learned from the massive backlash.
I think they are giving them the
centre assess
ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Should hopefully help them out a bit. Yeah. So, other than that, do we want to go into more news that's happened?
Let's move away from politics.
By going into more politics.
This is like overseas politics, though.
Overseas politics. So, anyone that's been paying attention to the news recently has probably heard about the big explosion in Lebanon, in the capital of Beirut, which is a port city. And basically, this big warehouse that they'd stored a load of ammonium nitrate, which is supposed to be fertilizer, but you can use it as an explosive if it comes in certain conditions. Yeah, so that 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate transferred itself into a several kiloton explosion, which also sent out a load of toxic plumes, completely destroyed part of the harbour, which, considering that Lebanon is currently relying quite a bit on that harbour for any food or economic trade, because they don't really have much in the way of infrastructure in other areas because of their civil wars and revolutions that have been going on recently, and all this sort of stuff. So they are struggling quite a bit at the moment, and it's all come out that it's partly due to political corruption and stuff like that, because politicians have basically had the power to move all this stuff out of there that's been stored unsafely, but they've just not bothered to. And despite being warned or something. What are you saying, Finley?
The ammonium nitrate was on. I'm stealing this from my favourite podcast again, by the way. The ammonium nitrate was on a Russian-owned cargo ship.
Yeah.
I think got impounded at the port in like 2013 or something.
Yeah.
Because the port authorities found it unsafe, and the Russian owner basically went, "Well, it's not my problem now," and just left it. So
Yeah.
the authorities like impounded all of this ammonium nitrate as like it was meant to be like a kind of a hostage, like, well, we've got all your ammonium nitrate and the crew now. But
Yeah.
it didn't really work. And
Yeah, and they
ammonium
released the
nitrate,
crew.
basically, if it's stored anywhere, it will explode eventually.
So how did it
Yeah.
actually explode? Like, what caused it to go
Well,
off?
that we don't know that what exactly happened, but there was a fire there, and then about 30 or so seconds before the big explosion, there were a lot of little flashes, which some people say looked like fireworks, and the authorities have said it probably was fireworks, and those basically set it. The explosions around those caused by the fireworks set off the big boom, which is kind of scary to think that a firework has that much potential for destruction if stored next to something that volatile.
Yeah, well,
yeah, it's
if
just
that stuff wasn't stored there, then the fireworks would have been all right.
But realistically, they should have sold the stuff on, because at that point, the person who basically who they took it off had written off the cargo, written off the ship. The ship was basically later sent. They say it was sent out and put into a breakwater and scuttled there, basically. So the only thing they had left from this whole, "Oh, this ship is unsafe, you'd better pay us," was this ammonium nitrate that they could have used to either fertilize use as fertilizers for their local farms, or sold it on to another country to use it as.
So the Lebanon government owned that ship.
Well, they basically impounded it, and they impounded its cargo.
Because they impound it, I think. Although, don't quote me on that.
If something breaks their, I think it's like if a vehicle is impounded for whatever reason, it may have been your car, but you're then going to have to pay a fine to get it back, and so. If you don't pay the fine in a certain amount of time, the government will just take the car off you. It's no longer your car. They'll just sell it off in a surplus sale type thing. So in the end, it basically just became their stuff. So they could have sold it on the international market to get themselves some money, or given it out to local farmers to give them some sort of resource to fertilize any crop development sort of stuff they had going. But in the end, they just, they left it in a big silo by the port in a warehouse that then caught fire, that then led to it exploding.
Big boom.
Big boom.
Real Texas City vibes with a hint of political corruption.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people died?
It was only like 100, which it's a massive explosion.
It's more than 100. It's 100 and something to 200. I can't remember the exact figures, but there's been,
because as morbid as it is, you can see it being a lot worse.
Well, there's thousands more that have been
injured, and it's horrible.
But the problem is,
it's that they let it happen.
The problem is as well that because before they, even before this explosion, their hospitals were struggling with equipment and medicines and stuff like that. So they didn't exactly have much in the way of supplies. So as soon as this explosion happened, all the injured were being sent to the hospitals where they don't necessarily have the equipment to do all the medical supplies to do the proper. To properly see to all these people, which is why it's become a massive nightmare over there, and why there's all these calls from various people across the world for the political parties to stand down, for the government to stand down, and stuff like that. So that's it's kind of scary.
Autoglass might have like a big market now.
What?
Well, like, Autoglass doesn't work. They fix car windows, not like city windows.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
auto glass repair, auto glass replace?
Oh, that's the advert. Yeah, but
I think it's a bit more than a chip.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
But also-
Joe, you mentioned that there was like toxic waste. Like, how bad was
Yeah.
that? Like,
Well, the ammonium nitrate, when it burns, it creates a toxic plume of smoke, and it's going to cause serious respiratory issues, and then people with serious respiratory issues, it could potentially kill them. And there's also the also a scary thing about the statistics that they're still discovering people, because there are still a lot of people that are missing even now. And it happened a week. Did it happen a week ago? I can't remember. More than a week ago. But yeah, it's that there are still people missing, so the death toll is still going to go up, which is
happened on the 4th of August.
Yeah, and it's the 17th now. So yeah, it's been nearly 2 weeks. Nearly
At
2
least
weeks.
177 deaths, 6,000 injured.
Yeah.
And there's been 10 to 15 billion US dollars property damage.
Yeah, and that's to a country that was already struggling economically, and as well as all the damage that's been done to people's houses, the biggest damage is to the actual port, which is where they were getting most of their supplies and stuff from.
It says here, the cause was the fire.
Yeah,
there's a fairly big hole.
Yeah, if you look at the photos, the before and after. Yeah, it's just.
I mean, it was heard in Cyprus, which is
it was a big.
It was a big explosion.
Because that's more than 250 kilometers away.
Yeah.
One of them, it's considered to be one of the most powerful non-nuclear explosions in history. This is just what Wikipedia is saying. So do. Obviously.
It is, presumably. I'm not sure about there was the Krakatoa eruption, which was quite a big explosion, because I remember they heard it quite far away as well. And I mean, I'm not sure whether it's on the same scale, but there was also that big bomb that they put under during one of the World War I battles. They made a really big tunnel and packed it full of explosives, and that was heard back in England from France. So yeah,
again, it's surprisingly similar to Texas City, which was an ammonium nitrate explosion, which I think that was heard like miles away, because it was just open water. There's like nothing there, so it just the sound travels.
Sound carries over open water. Yeah. So, are we gonna move on from that now, or should we?
Yeah, we can do. Yeah.
Let's lighten the mood.
The Belarus riots.
Oh, what a way to lighten the mood.
Yes, lightening the mood. There's been a lot of stuff happening recently in news and stuff like that, which has been fun. So
you want to walk us through it, yeah?
I'll give it a go. I don't know everything, but off the top of my head, there's been a re-election in Belarus of the previous government, who were noted for being very autocratic and corrupt, and so there's quite a lot of speculation about whether the election was rigged, and this has caused mass protests And from these mass protests, there are people literally being grabbed up by the police and militias and various other armed groups, and they're taking them to detention centres and physically torturing them, and then chucking them back. So yeah, that's another mood lightener there.
Yeah, it is.
Political
Indeed.
repression.
Yeah.
Proud sponsor of stuff since the dawn of time.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been a bit of a grim episode this
It's a
week.
bit of a depressing
We
one,
went
isn't
from
it?
what we wanted to eat on death row to this.
Yeah, I suppose.
Jesus.
I mean, I've got something to lighten the mood a bit.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an embarrassing story on my behalf, but so I was at work. I think it was last Sunday. I think Finley knows the story. He was here, and on our tills, obviously because of the pandemic and everything, we've got hand sanitizer on the tills. So I just finished on the till, so I was going to put some hand sanitizer on my hands and then get back to doing whatever I was doing. But for some reason, instead of hand sanitizer being on there was another bottle. It was clear, the liquid inside was clear, and I was like, all right, this must be hand sanitizer. So I pressed the pump lid down, because we do have big sort of pump lid hand sanitizers. I start rubbing it in, and it's not rubbing in, it's just sort of going all over. That's when I realised it's soap. So I had to walk through the entire shop just soap on my hands just to get to the toilet to then clean them off in the sink.
Like picks them up and doesn't want it. They'll like
They leave
leave
it-
it back in this dump stock and we put it back out. But like Jacob did it with soap. Wasn't very smart, but occasionally people will like leave hand sanitizer and you don't know if it's for the shop, so you end up using this hand sanitizer, which is meant to go back out on the shelf.
Oh God, that sounds fun.
Yeah, the really
It is.
irritating ones are when people put stuff like they don't give it to us on the till, they just put it near the till.
Yeah,
Like,
they
they'll
can
stick
just
it on,
give
like,
it to
the
us and then
shelf
choose not
next
to.
it. Like I'm glaring at you, you can see me here. Give it me so I can put it back. Don't just put it like in the battery section.
Yeah. Dumb stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Have
got
you
a
got
name for
anything
this
else?
episode though. This is
I
total
mean-
whiplash.
I mean, we can finish it off with you ranting about something.
Yes, it took us a while to start recording this episode, and it was mainly because of Finley's technical issues. Do you want to go through them, Finley?
So, I have a computer. My computer is very, very close to being punted down the stairs because it took me 20 minutes to turn it on and boot up Discord, to join the call, for my microphone to start picking up the sound of my computer. Because my computer has this incredible feature that is like it sits on your lap and the fan bends into the keyboard. So it's constant buzz. And if you pick it up while it's running, it gets worse because it starts rattling about inside the computer. So I'm sitting there trying to sort it out, and I'm like, oh, this isn't working. I'll move over to my tablet. I'll record on that. So I plug my headphones in to record, and my microphone stops working.
Oh God.
So I'm having this like fit trying to fix one of the two, at which point I'm like, I can see that the mic on my tablet is actually working, so why is it not picking me up? It's because Discord's sensitivity slider goes the opposite direction from every other sensitivity slider I have ever used. Because to turn the sensitivity up, you slide it to the left and not the right. Like you would for everything else, Discord sensitivity works backwards.
I think it's
So
it's
about
supposed.
half hour later, we finally started recording.
I think the whole idea behind that is you're supposed to be able to see any background sounds that it's picking up as like a little line along it. So you then slide it to just before that so that it's no longer picking up the background noise. But yeah, I agree. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I might try and
The only
boost
thing
up the
I've
sound
ever
of Finley's audio because he is very quiet this episode because of how he's recording.
Yeah.
I'll have to
Hopefully,
see what I can do.
next episode there should be a sudden boost in my quality because my new computer should be here by then, and I'm going to order a mic on Friday.
Oh, good.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
All things being good and working and not being punted through
not
Windows in
not
frustration.
deciding to change my audio quality and like settings to put my audio through a speaker that doesn't have a microphone.
Yeah.
The output audio through a joystick because for some reason it tried to do that.
Yeah.
Magical.
Yeah. So I think probably now is probably a good time to end this. Do you reckon?
Yeah,
How long have we been
so.
going?
Oh, I have no idea.
Probably about half an hour-ish, 40
Yeah,
minutes.
it's a bit of a short episode. You haven't got
Short
next
episode.
week's episode should be a bit longer.
Yeah.
I've got something interesting planned.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's goodbye from me. Goodbye from everyone else.
Bye.
Okay. Yep.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Goodbye.
Come watch our episode where we go like, what would you eat if you were gonna die tomorrow? And then you come watch this episode where we're like, what
Serious
political
political
party is
issues.
the least corrupt?
Finley, if they're hearing this bit, surely they would already have listened to this episode.
The first,
No.
the second first episode, whatever.
This
Yeah.
is episode 3. Episode 1 is the forbidden episode.
It's the forbidden fruit.
It was too powerful. We couldn't allow it to exist.
Yeah.
All right then.
Right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.